At OMYA, safety is not just a priority, it's woven into the fabric of who we are as a company. Nothing is more important than sending each of our employees home safe and healthy at the end of each day. That is why we would like to draw your attention to one of the most important safety programs we have, energy isolation.
People do not cause the accidents, they prevent them. Protect yourself and your colleagues from unintentional exposure to any types of energy by following OMYA energy isolation procedures. And remember, a job is never so urgent that we cannot take the time to do it safely.
Lockout, tagout, tryout. LOTOTO, or energy isolation, is a safety procedure used to ensure that dangerous machines are properly shut off and not able to be started up again prior to the completion of maintenance or repair work. It requires that hazardous energy sources be isolated and rendered inoperative before work is started on the equipment in question. The isolated power sources are then locked and a tag is placed on the lock, identifying the worker who placed it. The worker then holds the key for the lock, ensuring that only he or she can remove the lock and start the machine. This prevents accidental startup of a machine while it is in a hazardous state, or while a worker is in direct contact with it. The following steps must be performed in sequence during energy isolation. 1. Prepare. 2. Notify. 3. Turn off, shut down. 4. Isolate. 5. Apply locks and tags. 6. Zero energy state. 7. Try out. 8. Perform task. 9. Inspect and restore. Let's look at each of these steps of an effective energy isolation more closely. 1. Prepare.
There are risks that we just need to deal with. We try to engineer them away as much as we can, but it's also the behavior that we show in the plant that change and that make a difference whether we act safely and we can avoid accidents or not.
The foundation of an effective energy isolation begins with thorough planning and a risk assessment to determine the type and magnitude of hazardous energy sources associated with each piece of equipment. Identification of steps necessary to isolate those energy sources. Prior to commence such activities, employees must review the work order, perform a job briefing, review machine-specific energy isolation procedures together with any associated safe working procedures and work permits. And each employee must carry out an on-site risk assessment on the spot to identify all hazards to eliminate or adequately control them. 2. Notify. Notify affected employees that a lockout or tagout system is going to be utilized and the reason. A record must be maintained of all isolation operations for service or maintenance activities. Make sure you have secured the work area by using warning tapes and signs prior to commencing the task. The isolation needs to be conducted by competent persons who received theoretical and practical training on recognition of applicable hazardous energy sources, the type and magnitude of the energy, and the methods and means needed for energy isolation. 3. Turn off, shut down. If the machine or equipment is operating, shut it down by the normal stopping procedure. Depress stop button, open toggle switch, etc.
For doing your job safely, please open your eyes widely and consider to remove all energy before starting your maintenance activity. This is not just about removing electrical energy and putting your own lock, but really to study and remove all possible energy around you, like chemicals, thermal risk, residual pneumatic, hydraulic energy, etc. Your safety is what mattered the most.
4. Isolate. Operate the switch, valve, or other energy isolating devices so that the equipment is isolated from its energy source. Don't use the stop button or emergency stop button for isolation. Physical barriers are to be equipped with a locking device.
Every task cannot start until it can be done safely. Whenever you commence a new task, please stop. Assess the risks, fix and control them, and then, and only then, conduct the task safely.
5. Apply locks and tags. The principle is one lock, one person, one energy source. Locks should be applied to each energy isolation device. A personal lock plus a tag to be fitted to each isolation point must be checked that it cannot be defeated. Each authorized employee has their own lock set and the only key to that lock set. These are provided to the worker by their site management and safety department. If more than one individual is required to work on the equipment, each OMYA or contractor employee shall place his or her own personal lock and tag on the energy isolating devices. When an energy isolating device cannot accept multiple locks or tags, a multiple lockout or tagout device, HASP, may be used. If a group lockout is used, a single lock may be used to isolate and lock out the machine or equipment, and the key placed in a lockout box or cabinet, which allows the use of multiple personal locks. Each employee will then use his or her own lock to secure the box or cabinet. As each person no longer needs to maintain his or her lockout protection, that person will remove his or her lock from the box or cabinet. While working on mobile equipment, park on an even surface. Chalk the wheels. Disconnect the battery and/or remove the key and lock the doors. Check locking and post signage.
Many risks exist in our mine operation with our equipment, crusher, conveyor belt, so please take the time to always isolate, lock and test isolation of all energy sources before doing maintenance activity. Do not take shortcuts. These can save your life.
Tags are not used alone unless there is no method to safely isolate energy sources. Tags or signs are used in addition to locks. Tags state the reason for the lockout, name and contact of the persons who is or are working on the equipment, date and time the tag was put in place. 6. Zero energy state. Ensure zero energy state. That is where all hazardous energy has been relieved and rendered safe. Allow stored or residual energy, for example, capacitors, springs, elevated machine members, rotating flywheels, hydraulic systems, and air, gas, steam, or water pressure, to dissipate or restrain it using methods such as grounding, repositioning, blocking, or bleeding down. Check gauges, manometers, ampere indicators, or other energy reading devices if provided. 7. Tryout. After ensuring that no personnel are exposed, attempt to operate the equipment by its normal operating controls, either from the control room or from the local start, to ensure the correct equipment or process has been de-energized and will not operate. 8. Perform task. The equipment is now isolated and safe to work. 9. Inspect and restore. After the servicing and/or maintenance is complete and equipment is ready for normal production operations, check the area around the machines or equipment to ensure that no one is exposed. After all tools have been removed from the machine or equipment, guards have been reinstalled and employees are in the clear, remove all lockout or tagout devices. Operate the energy isolating devices to restore energy to the machine or equipment. Complete associated paperwork, including isolation registers and permits where required. Transfer ownership back to production. Never attempt to operate any switch, valve, or other energy isolating device bearing a lock. Never remove a blocking device until all personnel, tools, and obstructions have been cleared from the area, and all equipment guards have been properly reinstalled. Each lock is removed by the qualified person that applied it, ensures that the qualified person knows their lockout or tagout device has been removed before their work resumes.
In our daily operations, we use many energy sources that make our life easier. However, those can be life-threatening if not controlled during servicing. Don't count on luck, count on luck.
Our goal, without compromise, is for every employee to return home safely every day. We count on you to always respect and observe OMYA life-saving rules. Thank you.